Well, hi everyone. I'm Matias Leonardi, the CEO and co-founder. Here we have Jill from Newton Partners. Feel free to introduce you in 5 seconds, Jill, and also Daniel.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here. Newtown Partners is the corporate venture capital fund for DP World, a Middle East port operator that is trying to build the bridge from factory to the end customer's door. We've been invested in Treggo for quite a while now, and very much believe in the last mile opportunity in Latin America, and are excited to explore it and explore the opportunity that Carryt brings to the table, specifically to enable more margin for both companies, and to actually build a sustainable, consolidated business that can compete in this very highly competitive market. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you, Matias and Jill. Your cooperation has been invaluable. Matias, and also I really appreciate the smoothness of the transaction. My name is Daniel Cuervo. I am the CEO and founder at Carryt. And since some weeks ago, we've been talking with Treggo to be able to incorporate their team, logistics, their capabilities, and their technology within our operations, so that we can create a very systemic integration between both companies.
So thanks both for making the time. Thanks, Jill, always for your constant support. And the idea, everybody is now is to have more context about how this transition is going forward, and in a certain way to know more about Carryt and how we can complement each companies and continue building sustainable and good technology in the last mile in Latin America.
Okay, so let me do a brief introduction on who is Carryt, so that all the investors, current investors in Treggo, understand a little bit on our business model and who we are. We like to position ourselves as the actionable logistics that is driving growth in Latam. And to give you a little bit of context in why we believe that we're driving growth, this is a very brief explanation on how the consumer brand distribution works in Latin America. While in the US, you're buying your everyday products in food, beverages, healthcare, and personal hygiene, you're buying them out of Walmart's or Amazon's. In Latin America, these brands are making 70% of the revenue in little mom and pop stores. But this becomes a great challenge, not only on the logistics side, but also on being able to really grow that specific sales channel. And why is this? The first reason is there's a little bit of over 12 million independent resellers that are buying products at a discount from these brands and are then reselling them with a markup in their local communities. But it's not only a question of being logistically efficient to be able to deliver the products, but it's also the fact that in 85% of the cases in countries like Colombia and Mexico, these guys are outside the banking system. And because of this, our responsibility is not only to take the products, but also to do the collect and delivery. And there's a huge misunderstanding on really what's happening behind the end customer. And because all of this happens right now, the brands are losing around $290 billion in sales, companies like Procter & Gamble, Unilever, Colgate, Natura. And the reason is the inefficient logistics is making the price go up. You don't really know your customer, or they don't really know their customer, and because they don't know the customer, they don't know how to increase the sales. And given the fact that these little guys of the mom and pop store owners are buying products with cash, they have no working capital, so they cannot increase their inventory. And in 8% of the cases, once you go to deliver the product, you have to go back to the distribution center because there's a rejection rate given the fact that they don't have the cash. And because all of this is happening today, we have established ourselves as a logistic partner that is enabling growth basically by delivering three big businesses in this market. The first one is everything related to how to deliver the product more efficiently. And here we have created a huge stack of technology that allows us to do the routing, to do the planning, and to do the delivery in a better way, so that we can deliver a 35% decrease in price of delivery per product, deliver with very high SLA, with 24-hour SLA markets. The second thing that we do is we provide uh, growth growth working capital for these little mom and pop stores through the connection with third-party credit as a service platforms, so that they can basically provide buy now, pay later solutions or more working capital and increase the sale. And the third one is, with the information of all the deliveries that we're making, we're also bringing that information into our customers, the big corporates, so that they can use it to increase their sales. We are basically revolutionizing the logistics, being able to pioneer in a huge new stack of technology that we have. We're democratizing logistics through the fintech solutions. We have become a very strategic partner for our clients. But not only that, but we're also taking care of the people. We are basically providing better working conditions to the drivers to the more than 700 drivers that work daily with us in Colombia, Mexico, and Brazil. And we are sustainable because right now we're compensating and offsetting everything of the carbon emissions that we do. We compensate them through a third-party connection. But the great thing about this is that because we have this huge plan in our head, we have also become a unique competitive advantage that nobody else in Latin America has. So when you see other players in logistics, you see that there might be some that are doing the logistic efficiency, and there might be some that are using driver technology to create the proof of delivery. Some of others basically are including this new technology with sustainable approach so that they can do deliveries with electric cars, or they can do the carbon offsetting that we're doing right now. But we are the only company in Latin America that is using the information of all the sales that these brands make to the little stores, and using that information to provide working capital through a financial services solution, and provide information on how this market should grow sales through helping them execute correctly their sales execution and go-to-market budgets. And because we have done this, we have been able to grow very, very fast in the past 3 years. The company was founded in 2021, and in just 3 years of operation, we have been able to increase our monthly deliveries to over 750,000. We did 2023 with we closed 2023 with 8.6 million in revenue and around a 9.4 EBITDA margin. And we have already signed contracts for over $70 million in the next few years, with over 140 great corporate clients in Colombia, Mexico, and Brazil. We have a great team of people behind us, 120 people before we had the incorporation of Treggo. Right now, with the incorporation, we have around 135 people, and we have over 700 drivers working with us daily. And well, a huge team that is doing their best and complementing their knowledge in logistics, in market expansion, in technology, in financial services. Okay. And well, to be able to understand and to tell you a little bit more on why we believe that Treggo plus Carryt is a great integration. We believe that Treggo gives us a little bit of capacity in different areas that I want to explain. The first one, Treggo has a view of logistics as a network. And because they have a view of logistics as a network, they knew that they had to connect with other companies and other vehicle providers so that they could fulfill the demand of all the deliveries that they were asking to be taken care of. This view is something that complements very well our sourcing and supply capacities for third-party vehicles. And because of this, we believe that we can scale the company a little bit faster. The second thing is they have a huge warehousing network and the technology to implement a warehouse management system, so that we can basically accelerate the introduction of new warehouses that we planned. We plan to introduce 19 warehouses in Latin America this year. And to be able to do that fast, we had to incorporate a WMS solution. This WMS solution and the capacity to do warehousing brings us two things. First one, the capacity to implement our actionable insights technology, which will allow us to create a new line of revenue by not only delivering products, but also including marketing and merchandising material, promotions, and sampling solutions for clients. And the other thing that can help us is to be able to implement cross-docking solutions. And what are cross-docking solutions? When you're able to consolidate cargo, you're not only we can extend our current go-to-market strategies and not only target corporates, but also target the SMBs. And we have had some cases before in which by targeting SMBs, we can elevate the gross margin that we have on our logistics services by around 10 to 15% of our current condition, which is around 25 to 27% of gross margin that we have. Okay. The other thing is that when we saw Treggo and we analyzed Treggo also had a great condition, which was that they were one of the only 5 companies in Latin America that had the MELI Flex certificates, which allowed us to basically not only target the big corporates, but also target all the resellers in Latin America. I was just reading this morning that MELI, the best year in MELI was 2023, and basically they overachieved all the budgets that they had already created. So MELI has become an amazing partner to be able to implement e-commerce solutions in Latin America, and we believe that by targeting these resellers, we can also become a huge logistic provider for them. Also, when we analyzed all the clients for Treggo, they have over 30 active clients and very loyal customers that currently value the logistic services and the technology that Treggo provides them, and we believe that that's a very hard thing to create overall in Mexico. And the last thing is that basically they're adding around $850,000 in new revenue with a 25% gross margin, which is around the same that we have. And by implementing quick solutions and scalable growth, integrating the two teams, we basically in a couple of weeks, we can transform that operation into a profitable operation. Okay. So yeah, this is the reasons why we basically bought Treggo. I don't know, Jill, if you want, or Matthias, if you want to complement anything of what I said.
Yes, I would like to compliment a little bit. Just a bit of background on Newtown Partners. We are very much research focused and thesis driven. So before we invest in a sector, we do a massive research piece into it to try to figure out kind of who are the players and what are the dynamics that are happening in the market. We found Treggo when Treggo had, built a profitable business, kind of a last mile aggregation business in Argentina. We obviously realized that, that's a tough market to continue to scale in with hyperinflation. The team already decided they wanted to move into kind of the Mexico and Colombia piece. And we were the partner that enabled them to do that. But the reason we invested in Treggo was because we saw their ability to provide heat maps by connecting into multiple logistics providers to enable high density routes that are created that they can then give to independent drivers. The reason that's really interesting is because how you actually can make sure that you can deliver to SMBs is by having kind of a loyal base of drivers that actually want to work with you and are getting kind of the revenue out of working with you. So we thought that was super interesting, and we saw that that was a huge need on the African continent as well, a very similar market to Latin America. The reason that we're even more excited about the combination of Carryt and Treggo is we did even more research specifically into the Latin American market and specifically into warehousing. And we actually realized that, yes, last mile aggregation definitely provides that value, but when you're seeing that you've got a lot of this warehouse capacity, it's about having these kind of almost micro fulfillment centers that can get closer to the end customer, or having a warehouse that can kind of, touch them a bit quicker and can enable faster turnover of those SMBs. So we actually believe that there's going to be a huge version of more SMBs that are doing e-commerce in the Latin American market. There'll be even more competition to be able to deliver faster and better to the end customer. And we think that a combination of warehousing plus logistics that is, can kind of combine and get profitable quickly is very exciting. So from our angle, very happy to be here, and thank you so much, Carryt, for providing that overview. I'd like to just ask you a quick question on, kind of the market dynamics from your perspective. Why do you think consolidation is important? And, who are the other players that are, trying to kind of make waves in the same industry as you? And how is this acquisition going to enable you to kind of compete?
Okay, so I believe that logistics is a very tough market. It's a market where logistics you have to basically work 7/24, has low margins. But if you can, through logistics, you can enable new lines of business. That's the ideal like piece that we're doing right now. So we have like by working extra miles and by working very, very hard in the past 3 years, we have been able to grow a company, scale a company very fast, and being able to be profitable. Treggo is our second M&A process that we handled. The first one was to basically enforce our entry to Brazil, where we bought the subsidiary of another competitor called Lifted. But to be able to answer the question, through consolidation, you get various things. So the first one is you're being able to create that networking of warehouses that you're telling about. And I completely believe in your same vision, not only because it's theoretically a good way to think about it, but because there's been successful other cases implemented in countries like India, where partners that work like Carrot were able to increase their gross margin from like for about 20 points just by having implementing the warehousing consolidation and being able to target their services to SMBs. And the other thing is,
before I just wanted to just jump on there, that this is Porter that you're speaking about from India, correct, Daniel?
yes, it's an excellent case in which we have basically created a great relationship with them and being able to pull the big things that they're doing and how they're implementing everything. There's another case, Jill, also another unicorn based out of Spain called PAC. Their strategy when you talk to Enito, who's the founder, is also being able to create this warehousing fulfillments, and they're basically they just bought a Puro solution in Belgium to be able to implement it. So I believe it's the correct way to be able to grow and scale.
Great.
The second thing is Tergo had a great team. Had a great team. They had a great CTO. They had that created an amazing technology. They had a great CEO that I believe that Matias was able to scale. Very focused on the business. Very knowledgeable about the logistic marketing Latam. And the third thing is that we complement each other. And I believe that by complementing, when I say is you get the economies of scale. When I told you that with the incorporation, we were able to bring Trego to profitability is in Mexico. It's because it happened. Like we did the numbers and it's like, okay, you made it happen. And now that you made it happen, can you scale that very fast?
I mean, the interesting thing for me is that logistics is also very much that volume game as well. You have to be the one, and that speaks to why the consolidation becomes more and more important, because you need to kind of own that volume to ensure that you're bringing down the logistics cost and then ensuring that you can, provide value to these SMBs. I'd also like to understand, Daniel, a little bit more about Carrot's, Series A fundraise, kind of how is that going? I know we, have had a few conversations about there potentially being, good terms for Treggo investors to kind of get in. Yeah, it's piqued my interest, so I'd like to be sneaky and ask that.
So the last thing that I didn't tell is that the other reason that we have bought Treggo is because we believe that they have an amazing cap table behind, amazing investors that we believe that if they believe in our business, they can also be great partners for growth. Not only Newtown partners, but the other 10 other investors that are behind are great people. So to be able to basically motivate them to be part, not only part of the piece that Trego is being, but also increase their participation in Carrot. We are basically inviting them to join our Series A. We recently launched the second tranche of our Series A just around in January. It's a $7 million raise that we're looking for at a $25 million post-money valuation. The first tranche that we completed last year was done through our existing institutional investors, where we have companies like Natura, which is the fourth largest cosmetic group in the world, and great VCs in impact and local VCs in Latin America. Right now, we expect to launch to complete another $4 million that are missing in our round. And for this $4 million, what we're doing to motivate the investors in Treggo is that they have like a, how would you call it, Matias?
An extra multiplier of their investment.
An extra multiplier of their investment. So if they decide to invest in cash, I don't know, $100,000, they're going to have an extra multiplier. I cannot remember right now, Matias, how much was it, but we agreed on that.
I think that we talk about 1.5 of what they invested.
Yeah, well, we have to check it.
Investors in Treggo can, ensure that they get more shares in Carryt, in addition to the share swap by investing in the combined entity or investing in Carryt. Yeah, it's a great opportunity. I'll definitely be putting forward that from my side as well.
Yes. So to be able to expand a little bit more on what you just said, this is the current situation of both companies. Treggo has an LLC in the US that is the owner of a company in Colombia and a company in Mexico. Carryt also has a company, a C Corp in Delaware, which is the owner of Colombia, a Brazilian entity, and a Mexican entity. So how we're thinking about right now is basically being able to translate the property of the Colombian and Mexican Treggo societies into Carryt Holdings and be able to have this a little bit more, be able to have Treggo as one of our investors, not Treggo, but the investors of Treggo as part of our cap table. Right now, we have been able to achieve this initial percentage of the company, which if you see the Series A in Carryt is launching for 24.28%. So there's a huge opportunity here to get a little bit more of stake in the company if you believe in the market and if you believe in the company. The other thing that I want to say also, Jill, is that we have also structured a timeline for this. So legal. So we did the MOU initially. There's also being done, almost completed a financial, legal, technical, and operational due diligence process that we're doing with local lawyers and our finance team, local finance team, our technology team, and all the operational. There's another part in which Carryt Holdings assumes the control of Treggo Mexico and Treggo Colombia. Documents are already in place, but they haven't been signed until we have the complete authorization by all the investors in Treggo. Then we signed the technology transfer. Then we signed part of the agreements that with Matias and Nico to be able to stay with us a little bit longer. We believe, as I told you, that they have great people with great value to the company. And then we do like the flip of the Treggo shareholders into Carryt.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for that transaction timeline as well. It's great to see how far you guys have gotten along the process. I think the other and very important question, Daniel, is how can current Treggo investors be useful to Carryt?
Well, I haven't been able to talk to all of them, but on your case, Jill, you're one of the people that I believe that knows you're very structured, not only on the investment, but also on the research that you do. So for us, the research is also part of the things that for us is important. So just being able to have access to that type of research, being able to have you to consult you in any type of decisions that we make, and however you can introduce us with somebody that you think that might be a fit for the round, or if you believe that you want to have a little bit more context on the operations, very happy to be able to join in a one-on-one meeting with you.
Thank you so much, Daniel. That's very kind. I think as as all investors know, we always want to be at least providing some kind of value. So I'll definitely be sharing my 50-page research thesis with you. I'm very sorry, you might have to read it. But
No, but you know, I'm getting on a plane leaving Brazil in a couple of hours, so I have the 6 hours on my way back to Colombia.
oh, don't threaten. It'll be in your inbox very soon. But I mean, I think, it would also be good to understand, kind of the vision for the fund, not, sorry, for the combined entity. And I mean, I know that you are in conversations with, multiple investors for the Carryt round. I know you've also raised kind of venture debt as well. And you are profitable. So, I mean, you don't really need to be raising more money. What does happen if, for example, the market's a bit tougher and you can't raise now? Is it more continue to execute and get these two profitable businesses further along?
Yes, we have been very cautious on trying to grow the company and also being able to monitor our unit economics so that we're able to grow. The venture debt that you correctly say we have in place is basically to cover a little bit of a gap that there is in the cash flow in the business. So you're paying your drivers to be able to incentivize them. You're paying them on a 7-day base. These are people that represent the second biggest, largest piece of population of informal economy in Latin America. And they basically live out of the wage that they do with you. So you need to pay them 7 days. And you're receiving your receivables through the corporates in approximate 59 days. So so the working capital that we need, we have the venture debt in place. We have an open space for $10 million there, out of which we have already taken 3.7. But if we need to expand it, we can always call in more money from that provider. And what we also did, Jill, was that we enabled local factoring and e-confirming solutions in each one of the different countries so that we could finance also the invoices that we're doing through our clients to be able to cover that working capital gap. If we're not able to close the round, what will happen is that we will basically grow a little bit slower. But definitely there's a lot of time for Carryt to be able to demonstrate the real value that they can make for the market in Latam.
I think that's a very important point that you raised, that you guys have closed a $10 million venture debt that you can keep drawing down on to cover that working capital gap. As we said, logistics is about volume, but the other piece is the working capital. So the fact that Carryt is kind of solving for that, and you're also solving it for your, the small retailers and the SMBs. So yeah, that's very important and very exciting to hear, to be honest. So thank you so much, Daniel.
Thank you, Jill.
Well, thanks both of you. Thanks, Daniel, for giving all the context and presenting Carryt and all the complementation that you see with Treggo, that I'm definitely in the same page. I see that you guys have built a really impressive business, really fast in tough markets, Colombia, Brazil, and Mexico. And we are really excited also in the Treggo side to be part of continue building together with you guys. So you're a bigger team, you have also good customers, and also I see you as a great leader also. So I'm happy in a certain way to be joining the team and also trying to help Carryt to continue growing. Also, Jill, as you know, you have been always a constant support for us. So you are really important investor and also person that you help us also in all this journey. So thank you. And also, also thank you for all our investors in a certain way that will be seeing all this webinar. Happy to join in a private call or something if you want to go much in details. Also happy then if you also want to have a private session with Daniel, happy to arrange that meeting with him so you can have one-on-one session with him and talk more about Carryt, talk more about their actual fundraising Series A. But well, that's how we are right now in a certain way, and we are happy to be on board Carryt.